About 300 employees at the Washington Post are without a job tonight after sweeping layoffs rattled the newsroom at one of the country's most esteemed journalism outlets. The dramatic cuts are reportedly part of an effort to restore profitability for the 150-year-old paper. But one former reporter writes, she now works for The Atlantic, but formerly at the Post. She describes it like this, quote, "We're witnessing a murder," and then took aim at the Post owner, Jeff Bezos. Bezos is the fourth richest person in the world, according to Forbes, with a net worth of about $260 billion. He's owned the Washington Post since 2013. For more on this, let's bring in Max Tani, who is the media editor for Semafor. I mean, Max, all day, employees have been sharing news of the layoffs, a lot of them their personal stories. One of them, this one in particular, really stood out to us. It was from a reporter currently on assignment in Ukraine. What kind of coverage is going to be impacted, and how will the paper look different?
Well, I think that the Washington Post is going from being a paper that aspired to be a national newspaper to one that looks a lot more like a regional newspaper, at least for now. The Post was one of the few news organizations, national newspapers, that had foreign correspondents, had people all across the globe in different bureaus spread out over the world covering lots of major stories. And many of those reporters are now out of a job after today's cuts, which largely affected the international staff, many of the sports staff. The Post said it's closing down its sports section, essentially, with the exception of a few reporters, getting rid of its books section and cutting universally across the board a significant number of employees. The Post hasn't said how many, but it's been reported that it's as much as a third of the newsroom.
I mean, we also have to acknowledge here that this is not happening in a vacuum, right? It comes at a time when the Trump administration is increasingly suing news outlets. Do you think that plays into this?
I certainly think it doesn't help. I think that there's a lot of factors at play here. Some are self-inflicted wounds by the Post's ownership. Jeff Bezos alienating a large number of subscribers last year, or 2 years ago, rather, when he decided at the end of 2024 that the paper should not endorse Kamala Harris. That made a lot of the paper's liberal readers very upset and caused a huge dip in subscriptions. The Post has also run up against a lot of environmental factors that have impacted all types of media when it comes to the death of social traffic, the death of search web traffic. And of course, these threats from the administration definitely don't help. It's raised the cost of defamation and liability insurance, and it's just made it a little bit tougher to do some of that type of reporting. But I think that there's a lot of factors at play here, including threats against news organizations.
I also want to pull up a statement that we have from WAPO's union, where they say, in part, quote, "These layoffs are not inevitable. A newsroom cannot be hollowed without consequences for its credibility, its reach, and its future." Max, do you agree with that? And big picture, what does this mean for the future of journalism?
I think it's a really difficult, I think it puts the Post and its staffers in a really difficult position and kind of creates this difficult downward spiral where it makes it harder for the paper to recruit top quality journalists, which makes it harder for the Post to produce the types of stories that have a real big impact, which makes it difficult for the paper to sell ads, and which makes it slower for the subscriber acquisition and getting the number of subscribers, new subscribers on board. So I think that the cuts do have a really detrimental effect. And of course, it's really dispiriting to see so many journalists lose their jobs. It definitely is a really tough day.
Max Tani from Semafor, thank you. We appreciate your time and insights.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.